When Sacramento State announced it was going FBS as an independent of all things, I had someone in a Big Sky athletic department message me with a very simple comment on the situation. This was nothing more than a move to save face. The real hope here is that the application gets rejected, because if it's not, the athletic department is either going bust or it's going to leech off the rest of a university to such an extent there's just going to be a massive revolt. When I asked why that was, the individual's response was very simple. Look at UConn. And when you look at UConn, lo and behold, what do you find? The Huskies football program, an FBS independent for the last few seasons, loses between $10 and $16 million annually. Overall, the school's athletic department requires anywhere between $30 and $50 million each year to survive. That is the gap between the revenue athletics brings in and the expenses the department has. The university, of course, has been on the hook to subsidize this. It's easy to explain away, I suppose, when you're winning basketball national championships, men's and women's, and the team is going to a few bowl games here and then. What Sac State president Dr. Luke Wood isn't telling people about the university's move to FBS is that while revenues will undoubtedly increase, that the expenses are going to increase as well, massively so. Let's be real here. That increase in revenue that Dr. Wood loves to tout is not going to offset the increase in expenses, and that will just create more debt for the school.
Are we rich?
No, actually, in a lot of debt.
Oh, debt?
Ah, yes, debt. You see, the thing about the Hornets FBS ambitions is that they are happening amidst a major budgetary crisis over on the campus of Sacramento State. Classes are being cut, faculty could be let go. Meanwhile, $6.5 million is being used to fund low-level improvements to Hornet Stadium so the school can play a home football game against the likes of San Jose State or New Mexico State. The thing about moving from FCS to FBS is it's not this attendance cure-all. Just look at Sam Houston for proof of that. Attendance at the highest level of college football hasn't improved dramatically for the Bearcats. The idea Sac State is getting $20,000 per game when the A's can't even hit $10K folks paid to see Major League Baseball most nights is a pipe dream. Here's the deal. I've said it before on the channel and I'll say it again. Yeah, it would be cool for Sac State to be an FBS football program. I would certainly go to more games. It would be fun to have a team here in town playing that New Mexico State game or San Jose State game. But it cannot be at the expense of the student experience. I'm not a Sac State alum. I'm not a donor. I'm just a guy who would pay to see the team play every once in a while at the FBS level. It is those students who matter most here. Historically speaking, the majority of Sac State students do not care about the school's athletic teams, and seeing the Hornets get blown out by whoever they are bringing in, because that is most likely going to be life as a D1 independent, it's not going to draw bumper crowds. Ask Fresno about how big of a pull UConn was for their attendance. Oh, and the Bulldogs got the joy of playing a Week 0 August kickoff at 11 a.m. so those East Coast viewers on CBS Sports Network could see them play. As someone who was at that game, it was terrible. I cannot tell you how awful that was. And that, by the way, is Fresno State, a football program that has some cachet at the FBS level. Here's what I don't get about this situation. The Sac-12, the NIL collective, received $50 million in pledges. Why are they not going out to get pledges? Actually, screw pledges. Why are they not going out to get commitments to help with the renovations at Hornet Stadium? The students are being asked to fork over $6.5 million while Sacramento State is dealing with a $37 million budget shortfall. Why? So they have a stadium that may be FBS ready in a few years' time, and even then, it's going to look nothing like the renderings. When that Sac State first FBS game potentially happens down the road, the people at the stadium are going to be wildly disappointed. It looks nothing like what was promised by Dr. Wood in 2024. More worryingly, those students have been asked to put up $2.5 million, half of the application fee for the school's football team to transition from FCS to FBS. A deal that was reached based on an independent report that stated the school was most likely going to end up in the Mountain West Conference, something we know is not happening. It's not Mountain West, it's not Pac-12, it's not even Conference USA, it's FBS Independence, the worst possible option. The most ironic thing here is that is money these students could potentially use to help stave off some of these potential class cuts and some of these potential teacher firings. So the thing is that $2.5 million, it's a loan from the student body to the school. It will eventually be repaid, but that is money collected through student fees. The students have paid that money, and while it is a loan, maybe now with the $37 million budget shortfall revealed, they might want to divert that somewhere else. That's because Dr. Wood and Sac State deans are proposing to implement another fee to keep these courses that are scheduled to be cut around. Why not return that loan back to the student and ask all of those Sac-12 pledges if they wanted to put up the money for the application fee? After all, they aren't the ones who need courses to graduate with a degree from CSUS. Interestingly, Sac State's president was quizzed on why the $6.5 million now going toward Hornet Stadium renovations could not be redirected to help with the budget shortfall. He did what all bureaucrats do in this situation: feign sympathy and then blame the system he's partially responsible for creating and maintaining. I couldn't take these $6.5 million that is for athletics facilities and use it for instruction because those dollars are highly audited by the state. So I think that they're right to feel a sense of despair, recognizing that we have these dollars, but we can't use them for something else. So my Dungeons & Dragons alignment is chaotic good. When I hear someone telling me they can't do the right thing because of bureaucracy, I refuse to accept it. If Dr. Wood and Sacramento State wanted to do the right thing, they would. They do not. And pretending that you're sympathetic to the students' causes while saying, oh, paperwork is why we can't do this, it's bullshit. Of course, no one told Dr. Wood to say FBS or bust. No one told the school to keep feeding misleading information to the Big Mountain podcast. Sacramento State created this terrible situation for itself. Everybody knew that budget-wise, it was staring down the barrel of a gun. Make no mistake, that is why the FBS independent announcement was rushed through despite the fact it was half-baked. Now, if you want fully baked, donut time on Elkhorn. Oh, that place is so good. I don't even care how sketchy that parking lot is. I love donut time on Elkhorn. Speaking of sketchy things like that Elkhorn parking lot, the decision to delay plans on budget cuts until after the FBS announcement was made was absolutely dubious. The timing here is not an accident. It was done to ensure that FBS plans were set in stone so the school could ride out bad publicity. Because, make no mistake here, no one is moving to FBS after announcing a $37 million budget shortfall, not with all of the other extra expenses that FBS does incur. Even saying this out loud right here and now, it is damn preposterous. Let's bring it all full circle, shall we? The reason Dr. Wood has been so adamant that Sacramento State needed to go FBS is that it has all of these benefits. It can increase enrollment, in particular out-of-state enrollment. That is the huge selling point here. Even if that were the case, and it's honestly probably not the case, but hypothetically, even if that were the case, who's going to be teaching all those new students? What classes are they going to be taking if you're cutting classes? All of this is now for naught. Now, the line to defend Sacramento State here as it relates to having funds go towards athletic facilities is that the students approved it. Kind of, but actually not really. It was approved by the Student Fee Advisory Board, this collection of faculty and students that really doesn't represent the CSUS student body. These aren't elected students, mind you. You just sort of apply to be on the board. Well, there is the student body president and vice president who were very much in Dr. Wood's orbit and probably were happy to go along with whatever he wanted for the most part. If you put student fee increases up to a vote amongst the entire student body, not just 9 random folks, we know that they are going to vote it down unless a school has a damn good reason for it. As far as athletics is concerned, Dr. Wood has manipulated this situation to get his desired outcome. And now, with the university some $37 million in the hole, he wants to claim his hands are tied, that Sac State is committed to FBS and stadium renovations. He'll talk to students, but he just can't do anything about the situation despite, being president. Wildest of all, though, this isn't the most ridiculous thing happening in the Sacramento State Athletic Department right now. No, that is reserved for Mike Bibby, who was allowed to hire his woefully unqualified son to be associate head coach. This is a guy whose coaching resume literally consists of being a high school assistant for a few years, and now he's working under his dad as associate head coach. Now, maybe you're thinking, well, the rest of his staff is full of experienced college assistants or people who know the game. Nope, Mike Bibby just went out and hired a bunch of his friends to coach with him at Sacramento State. Literally, the former Kings point guard spent zero effort in bringing in a qualified staff. Now he's just out here recruiting the sons of former NBA players. Have you seen Bibby's contract, by the way? He's making $300,000 annually despite having zero qualifications or experience for this role. Not to mention $20,000 in relocation assistance so he could quote unquote return home. This is a guy who made millions during his NBA career, and he needs $20K when the school can't afford to pay its teachers or keep courses students need to graduate. Sacramento State is being run like some sad sack tech bros startup that everyone apart from those inside can see is hurtling toward failure. And Dr. Luke Wood is seemingly doubling and tripling down on this bullshit to simply save face. Jalen Rashada, Mike Bibby's unqualified son, is associate head coach, forcing students to spend $6.5 million to revamp a stadium while cutting their courses. Dr. Wood, I implore you, do the right thing. Do the sensible thing. This is not about you saving face to fulfill something you said. Maybe one day Sacramento State can move up to FBS, but it should be done with a thoughtful, comprehensive plan in place. No half-assed makeshift solutions like, that new basketball venue in the well that's basically the Hornet's Nest reincarnated. Ultimately, this ain't about you fulfilling promises. This is about you in your role as president doing what's best for students and the school at large. That sure as hell isn't getting browbeat as an FBS independence in hopes of what? That one day CSUS is seen alongside the likes of New Mexico State or UConn with a worse football stadium. The school has made it this far without an FBS program. You'll survive a few more. And when you do it, eventually, at least it'll be done with a proper plan in place, not built upon the suffering and hardships of the student body at CSUS. Or better yet, why don't you tell the Sac-12 that it's time to put up or shut up? What's the point of collecting all of these pledges for one day when you are FBS, when today the school needs that money to get to FBS? It shouldn't be on a school with a massive cash crunch to make things work. If the group was more than just empty pledges on one day, perhaps when Sacramento State is FBS, it would fund the renovations for Hornet Stadium. It would pay the entire application fee for the school to transition from FCS to FBS. That is $9 million in savings for Sacramento State right there. Dreams are great, but not if they come at the expense of living in reality. Sacramento State, the athletic department, Dr. Luke Wood are not living in reality. And Mike Bibby, nepotism is not cool. Hire a real assistant basketball coach, for crying out loud. You weren't brought aboard to hire friends and family. Save that shit for your T-Mobile plan. If that wasn't enough to convince you his tenure as Sacramento State men's head basketball coach is doomed, well, check out the video in the upper right-hand corner of your screen for more information and to learn about how Sacramento almost had itself an MLS team back in 1994. Video lower right-hand corner of your screen. Thank you for watching this video. Until next time, I am Cheyenne Hollis. This is Touchback, and as always, hashtag take it out to the 25.